Hello, dear UPSC and APSC aspirants. Welcome to the daily news analysis of December 26, 2023. Before starting the session, quickly I want to invite you for a program organized by Academy of Civil Services on 7th January, Sunday 2024 at 7 p.m. in the evening. We have a free online webinar focusing the APSC prelims 2024. How to focus on how to start preparing now for the APSC 2024 prelims examination. In a recent notification, Assam Public Services Commission has announced that the examination is expected to happen in March 2024. Another important information I want to share is that yesterday, on 26th December 2023, Academy of Civil Services has started an online batch, APSC booster course online batch from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The students who are preparing for APSC 2024 in a serious way, you can join this batch. You can call in the number I am giving on the screen, 9085268769. For these two purposes, you can call in this number. Let us start our news analysis of the day. Special Force for Security, crowd management at Jagannath Temple in Puri. The art and culture of the GS1. Jagannath Temple in Puri. It is known as also called as White Pagoda, is one of the most revered Vaishnava sites of the worship in India. You must have studied in the art and culture regarding the Char Dhams. Char Dhams means the four most important pilgrimage centers in four different parts of India. And the Char Dham pilgrimage is also a common thing people used to, and the believers used to go for the pilgrimage in all these four centers. One is the Jagannath Temple in Puri, and other three are Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu, Dwaraka in Gujarat, and the Badrinath in Uttarakhand, and plus the Jagannath Temple in Orissa are the four places of the holy shrines, holy pilgrimage, and coming under the Char Dham. And the most famous event in the Jagannath Temple in Puri is the annual Rath Yatra. It is one of the oldest Hindu temples still be in use. Its main shrine was built by King Anandavarman Choda Ganga of the Ganga dynasty in the 12th century, and that means almost some 900 years old. The temple covers 4 lakh square feet with a classic Oriya architecture, and Neel Chakra or the blue wheel on the top of the main temple is have been built built with the Ashtadhatu. Ashtadhatu means 8 different metals are used in the construction of the Neela Chakra or the blue wheel. Jagannath Puri temple is called as the Yamaniga Tirtha because according to the belief, Yama, the god of death, has been nullified in Puri due to the presence of Lord Jagannath is the belief. That is why the temple is known as the Yamaniga Tirtha is another title, another term used for the temple. Indian temples, okay, this temple, the Jagannath temple comes under the Kalinga architecture. You must have studied in art and culture that Indian temples can be, the temple architecture in India can be largely divided into Nagara architecture, Vesara architecture, Dravida, and Gadak style of architecture. Most of the temples in Orissa are coming under a unique structure under Nagara architecture that is called as the Kalinga style of temple architecture. The substructure under Nagara style in Kalinga architecture, basically a temple is made in two parts. A tower will be there and a hall will also be there. The tower is called as the Dual and the hall is called as the Jagmohan. And the walls of both Dual and Jagmohan are lavishly sculpted with the architectural motifs and the profusion of figures inside that. The most repeated form is the horseshoe shape, which has come from the earliest times, starting the large windows of the Chaitya Grihas. Chaitya Griha means the main prayer hall of a temple. It is the dual and duala which makes the three distinct types of temple in the Kalinga architecture. The best examples of the Kalinga architecture are the major temples in Odisha. Jagannath Temple, Puri, Lingaraja Temple of Bhubaneswar, Konark Sun Temple, Shatrughaneshwara Temple, and Mugadeshwar Temple of Bhubaneswar, Rajarani Temple of Bhubaneswar are the best examples of the Kalinga type of architecture of the temples that is coming as a subcategory under Nagara architecture. The second most important news we are discussing is Telecommunications Act gets the President's assent. We have already discussed in detail regarding the Telecommunications Act in a previous video. That is it today. And because of specific current affairs of the today, I am taking regarding the assent of President of India into a bill. President's assent is discussed under Article 111 of Indian Constitution. An act passed by or a bill passed by both houses of the parliament will be valid only after President of India assents that. Now, does President of India has any other option other than assenting a bill? Yes. President has certain veto powers. Veto powers means power to stop the assent of a bill. Three veto powers are there for President of India. One is absolute veto. Absolute veto means President reject to assent. But it is not possible for President of India in all the bills. It is possible for President of India only mostly in the private bill. Private bill means a bill presented by a member of parliament other than a minister. And if the bill is presented by a minister, in normal situation, President of India cannot reject the assent, cannot use the absolute veto. But sometimes, if it is a government bill, also President can use the absolute veto. How? A minister presented a bill and it was passed by Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Before President assents, the cabinet resigns or the government resigned. Another government came and that new government requested president to withhold the assent. In that unique situation, president can use the absolute veto even in a government bill. Second is suspensive veto. Suspensive veto means the power of the president to return a bill to the parliament. The returned bill, if the parliament passes again with simple majority, president must give his assent. Next one is pocket veto. One more thing, the suspensive veto, that is the returning a bill, president cannot use in the case of money bill explained under Article 110. Next is pocket veto. Pocket veto means simply keeping in pocket. President is not taking any action, neither rejecting nor assenting that bill. That is called as pocket veto because Article 111 has not prescribed any time limit within how much time President of India should assent it. Then President of India has the power to take no action. Power to take no action on a bill passed by the Parliament of India. Indian President does not have the qualified veto. Qualified veto, American president has the qualified veto. Qualified veto means once a bill is returned by President of India into the parliament for reconsideration, second time parliament should pass with a special majority, not simple majority. It is there in the case of American president, but Indian president does not have the qualified veto. One more thing, as per 24th Amendment Act of 1971 to the Constitution, it is compulsory, it is mandatory for President of India to assent a constitution amendment bill that cannot be rejected, cannot be returned, cannot be used the pocket veto. Again, in the state bill, governor of a state has all these powers. Governor can use the absolute veto, suspensive veto, pocket veto. Governor has one more power. He can refer the bill for the consideration of President of India. If a governor refers a bill for the consideration of President of India, then President of India can use all these veto again, absolute veto, suspensive veto, and the pocket veto, with one distinction that suspensive veto President can use any number of times. He can return the bill any number of times to the concerned state legislative assembly. In the case of President of India, in a parliamentary bill, can return only once. I hope all of you understood the short Indian polity class. Next one, and the news from the front page of the Hindu yesterday. 3 senior officers taken off post as army probes the civilian deaths. Now, the civilian deaths in Jammu and Kashmir became a debate in the nation. What we have to study is that there is a mention of court martial. What is a court martial? Court martial, it is a court for the trial of military crimes are primarily handled by the court martial system. In India, there are four kinds of court martial: general court martial, district court martial, summary general court martial, and summary court martial are the four types. According to the Army Act, Army court can try personnel for all kinds of offenses except for murder and rape of civilian, which are primarily tried by a civilian court of law. If the case is related to murder or rape, then the case will go to the normal court of law. Other cases will be handled by court martial. What punishments a court martial can award a military person? Termination of employment in the army, forfeiture of pension and other possible benefits, getting benefits limited to only pension fund, and demotion. Demotion means opposite of promotion, lowering the grade or complete loss of designation. These are the punishments normally awarded by court martial. In spite of all these, President of India, Governor of a state cannot give the pardon of the court-martial judgment. President of India under Article 72 has the power to either pardon, reprieve, respite, or give remission of the punishment or sentences given by the court-martial. All these terms. What is pardon? Pardon means completely give the forgiveness and leave the person free. Reprieve means that from a higher punishment, reduce the punishment. Respite without changing the nature of the punishment. And respite and remission, all these are different more methods of the pardoning. I have explained in the class under Article 72 in detail all this. Now, if a case reaches into the court martial and court martial awards a punishment and there is no provision of the bail under this, Article 33 permits Parliament of India sometimes to restrict the fundamental rights for the military soldiers and the military persons. Article 136 and 227 restrict and curtails the jurisdiction of higher judiciary over orders and findings of sentences of the court martial. If a court martial gives the judgment, the higher judiciary cannot interfere with the appeal on this matter. That is restricted under Article 136 and Article 227. Next one, Armed Forces Tribunal. Special Court for the Armed Forces. It was established on August 8, 2007 as per Armed Forces Tribunal Act 2007. Ministry of Defense controls its. They have the power to adjudicate dispute and complaints regarding service issues in respect of the armed forces persons as per the three acts: the Army Act of 1950, Navy Act of 57, and the Air Force Act of 1950. The Armed Forces Tribunal is also empowered to adjudicate appeals against any other order, decision, finding, or sentence passed by court martial. Next one. Another important news related to particularly vulnerable tribal groups village. A government scheme for the particularly vulnerable tribal groups is discussed in the news. We can directly move to the scheme. PM Janjati Adivasi Nyaya Maha Abhiyan, PMJMAN Scheme. We can understand this scheme is for the overall development of the areas where 75 particularly vulnerable tribal communities are living in 18 states and 1 union territories in India. Then to make the basic life facility to improve the development of the region where the particularly vulnerable tribal communities are residing in India. The scheme aims to benefit and saturate the families and the habitations with basic facilities, giving the basic facilities of the life: drinking water, road, transportation, and all these basic facilities of the life will be ensured under this scheme in the areas where 75 vulnerable particularly vulnerable tribal communities are residing in different 18 states and one union territory. The population of the and thus particularly vulnerable tribal groups is 28 lakh, and they are living in 22,000 habitations in more than 800 blocks and located in 200 districts. Infrastructure needs of the village and habitations of these communities being located in remote areas and with a sparse population. That is, they are living sometimes inside in the extreme remote area of jungle. Under this scheme, we want to make the development reach into their area. Next one. Next one, the news, and there was a small missing in the news. The news was related to right of persons with disabilities. There was a news in the Hindu today. The court has ordered, and the court has ordered the government of India, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. The court has asked to collaborate with the producers of the Jawan movie and to ask the Jawan movie producers to upload a version of the movie in the OTT platforms which are disabled friendly. The people who are blind can watch the movie. The people with disabilities, different disabilities, can watch the movie. That facility, the court has asked the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to communicate with the producers of the Jawan movie to make a facility for the differently able people to watch the movie in the OTT platforms. That was the news. Then we can see detail of the court judgments regarding the Right of Persons with Disabilities Act. We can see our content for the exam point of view. In January this year, the court has set the government an obligation to take measures to ensure all content is available, whether it is video, audio, text. Every content should be available in India in formats accessible to persons with disabilities as per the provisions of the Right of Persons with Disabilities Act. Because Section 42 of the Act states that government shall take measures to ensure that all contents are available in audio, print, electronic media are accessible to the people with disabilities. The Act also tells that the persons with disabilities should have access to electronic media in the form of audio description, sign language interpretation, and closed captioning. In October 2019, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Ministry had issued directions to film producers and associations and the Central Board of Film Certification stating all features film must have audio description, subtitles, and the closed caption should be there to help the people with disability. Along with this court order, we have understood what is the order of the court. Court wants to make the movies especially and all other content accessible for the persons with disabilities. As this news came, let us look a brief in detail into the Right of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. The act was passed. The act was passed by the Parliament of India. Act was passed by Parliament of India on December 30, 2016. It replaced the Act of 1995. In 1995, we had an earlier act named as Disabilities, Equal Opportunities, Protection of the Rights and Full Participation Act 1995. We can see what are the major provisions of the representation rights of the people persons with disabilities act 2016. One is expanding definition of the people with disability. Who are the people with disability? For example, the people having intellectual disabilities are included now in the definition of the people with disability. People having mental illness, multiple disability, and even acid attack victims are also included, were brought under the definition of the persons with disabilities. Second provision of the Act is rights and entitlement. The Act ensures that the persons with disability should have the right to education, employment, healthcare, and social security. Next one, non-discrimination. We should create an inclusive society where everybody can participate on an equal basis with others, including the people with disability. Next one, accessibility and education. Regarding the education of the people with disability, it mentions that the act tells the persons with disability should have education, free education up to the age of 18 years. At present, the free education as per Right to Education Act is for the children between 6 to 14. For the persons with disabilities, it want to give up to the age of 18. Another one regarding employment, want to make, and the act wants to make 4% vacancies in government establishments reserved for the persons with disabilities. Next one, as I told, accessibility, and the act tells the importance of making public places, spaces like transport and information, most importantly, and the movie and all other modern technology accessible for the persons with disability. Next one is legal capacity. The Act recognizes the rights of the persons with disabilities to have legal capacity on an equal basis with others and prohibits any legal capacity based on the existence of a disability. They should have the same legal capacity equal to a common person. Reservation and 5% reservation should be given to them in the higher education institutions, and in the private sector also want to promote it. Complaint mechanism, and they should have a proper mechanism to redress the grievances and complaints of the persons with disability. Next news, United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, United Nations High Commission for Refugees, thanks India for taking care of 142 Rohingyas intercepted in Andaman. Rohingyas are the persecuted Muslim minority in Myanmar, and 142 Rohingyas were intercepted in the Sea of Andaman. They have been rescued by the Coast Guard of India and they have been taken care well. United Nations High Commission for Refugees has appreciated India for these activities. We can see the details of this organization. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee works for the protection of refugees, forcefully displaced communities, and the stateless people who have not recognized as citizens of any state, either by giving them refugee status or giving them some settlement in a third country. And they want to take and the right to seek asylum. They want to facilitate the people who are refugees to seek asylum and find a safe refuge in another state and to return home voluntarily when they are feeling to return home, when they are safe to return home. This organization's efforts are guided by United Nations Convention relating to status of refugees and its 1967 protocol, 1957, and United Nations has a document relating to the status of refugees. Definitely, this organization gives more emphasis on the life of children of refugees and the women and girls. Geneva in Switzerland is the headquarters of this organization. Yeah, this is the end of the news we are discussing today. We'll meet again tomorrow with the more important news of the today. Today, the 27th December, we'll discuss tomorrow. As I mentioned in the beginning, and as I mentioned earlier, and you can take an examination of the today's newspaper in the description below. You can download the PDF of the detailed analysis also in the news description below. Thank you all, and we will meet again tomorrow. Until then, bye.